Today, I want to show you how to create and use projects in ChatGPT, which is a function they just released. And so over to the side here now we have a thing called projects, and we can add a project here. And they're kind of like folders, but they're a little more than that. They're to help you organize your chats into different projects. And I'm going to show you how you can kind of customize that as well. If we go down here, it only shows a certain number of them in the side up here, and then it says see more down here. And so we can select any of these things or any of these projects. You can select photography right here, and you'll see it puts that at the bottom. So I have a chat that I did before that's kind of related to the photography chat. And I can drag that into the photography chat there, and it will add it. If we click on the photography chat, it shows us what's in there, and it also brings up the photography chat. So we can add files to this and add instructions to this as well. The instructions help us remember exactly what the project is and helps us define the project, but it also does that for ChatGPT. So we can collect files in here, we can collect chats in here, we can drag chats in here, and we can give it instructions. And the other thing that we can do is we can actually start chats in here. So when we do a chat within a project, it has any files that we put in there, any instructions that we put in there, and any previous chats that we had with it, or any chats that we drag into it. So it's kind of like a great way to organize, but it also kind of focuses ChatGPT. So like if you have a chat with ChatGPT, as you're chatting, it's recording and remembering information about that chat and adding it to kind of its scope of what it's looking at. So it adds to the context of it. It's just like if you have a conversation with a person, and it assumes what you're talking about is in relation to that conversation, or logically follows what's in that conversation. This is a way to have, or projects are a way to have more control over something that's more an ongoing project where you may have multiple chats, and you want ChatGPT to remember those chats in the context of the whole project. And that's why we have instructions too. Projects also in the simplest form are just, you don't even have to put files in it or add instructions necessarily. You may just use it as just an organizational kind of function, like you would a folder in Windows to put your chats in, so that similar chats you can find them, and it'll just make it easier to find chats in the past. Also remember, on any chat, you can go in and always rename a chat within a project or before you even put it in a project if it's just outside the project. So a lot of times ChatGPT, when you start a conversation, you might talk about multiple things, or the way you start a conversation is the way ChatGPT will try to name it within kind of the first. A lot of times it just takes the very first thing that you say or the very first question. So it may not name the conversation the best thing, depending on how the conversation started and evolved. So you can rename the chat to make it more easy to understand that as well. All right, so now that we kind of got an overview of what you can just do on a higher level with these projects, I'm going to show you how to do the specifics so you can tailor the project to something that you want to do. And so we're going to create a new project. Currently, you cannot reorder the projects. They're just in order of however you put them in, and I'm sure they're going to change that soon, so you can sort it by alphabetical or even sort it by custom. But you can't do that at this point, or at least the point that this video is recorded. So if you're watching this in the future, you may be able to move the folders around by that point. All right, so we're going to go to projects here on the left, and there's a little plus sign and it says new project. So we're going to click that, and we're going to name our project. And I'm going to call it Virginia, and I'm going to put sightseeing. I'm going to create the project. So this is going to be a project to find sites that I would just want to visit or photograph in Virginia. And so, as I mentioned before, you can add files and add instructions to this. So let's add some files first. So we would click on here. We can drag them right into here from a folder, or we can go to add files. I have some various files that I collected here from different sites on the web that are just about different sites in Virginia. And these are PDFs. I just did a search on PDF and sites in Virginia, and it gave me different sites from different counties in Virginia, and they had these PDFs. So I can add these. I also have like a JPEG that I took of something. And these could be Word documents, any type of documents, really, spreadsheets, whatever information you have. And it could be stuff that you've located from somewhere or things that you've written. The nice thing about it is it kind of focuses it. It gives it particular information to look at, so you know what information it's kind of referencing, and it still can reference stuff from the web. But it might not find these things when it's looking, and so you can kind of guide it. The other thing is if you have stuff that's not on the web that you wrote yourself or gathered yourself, you can put that in as well. So we're just going to put some of these in here. It just takes a minute. You'll see these circles and the icons show as it's loading. And the image that I put in here, it actually puts a thumbnail of the image in there. This image is just an image that I took when I was on Google Street of something that I was interested in. And so I added that to it as well. And so it has the files here now in the project. So now when we chat with it, it knows about the information in these files. Now the next thing I'm going to do, and I've already pre-written this, I'm going to have it help me write the instructions for the project. So what I wrote was, I want to create a ChatGPT project to find interesting places to visit and photograph in Virginia. Some of my interests include good places for infrared landscape photography, historic sites, abandoned sites, and old buildings and ruins, railroads and trains, historic train rides, parks, and nature. Write a summary for the project for ChatGPT. Now I could just write that into the instructions, but it's always nice to have ChatGPT help you with this type of stuff. Because it can put it in a pretty good format and make it a little bit nicer. And you can always add to it. And so it's actually given objectives. And it's kind of flushed out what I told it to and put it in a nice outline format. So then I'm going to just copy this by clicking the little copy icon down here. And then see, it's started a chat. And see, we're under Virginia Sightseeing, and this is our Virginia Photography Exploration, is the chat that we just started. So if we click here, now we have our first chat under this. And now we're going to go here and click this to edit the add instructions. And we're going to put this here. Now we can add to this later as we're going along. So you can start with something really pretty basic or something a little more fleshed out like this, but you can always go back and refine it or add things that you, as you're having conversations and such. So let's save this, and so now it has its set of instructions here. We have our first chat and everything, and so let's start a new chat here. And I have this site over here. It says Bucket List Virginia's for Virginia's Blue Ridge, and I think this is from Roanoke, Virginia website. And it has all these different sites it suggests for along the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia. And so I'm going to take this. I'm going to copy this URL here, and I'm going to go up here. Give me an outline list of So I'm going to have it give me an outline list of the places in this website. I'm going to put the URL there. And let's see what it does for that. And so it's already kind of gone ahead and outlined that particular list. Now it has a Blue Ridge Attractions, Virginia Blue Ridge Attractions sightseeing. And I needed to refresh it there, but it has that. It's added that now to the list. So now I have like 5 project files now. And if I click on here, it shows the project files. Some of these aren't named really intuitively because I just downloaded them. I didn't bother to rename the files. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a new chat line. I'm going to say list the current project files and summarize the content of each. And so now it's going to look to see what's in each of the files. So it lists the file and the file name and what's in each of these files. And that name isn't that descriptive to me, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to rename this project files summaries, like that, so I know what it is. So I may go back there in the future and update that. So if I add a file, I might ask it to summarize the new file that I added later on. But anyway, so I have these chats here. I can rename them to whatever I want. I've got our files, we've got our instructions. So it's a project. It's almost like if you had a regular file folder and we're putting different files that you wrote and information that you collected into it. So that's how you do projects, how you create and use projects in ChatGPT.